All right, so we're right at 7 o'clock. So let's go on ahead and get started. So at the top of the Thursday evening edition, a Clockwork Orange president. Yes, I am going to be naming my evening editions after movies that make fun of Donnie McShits his pants. This will become a regular occurrence. You should all be aware of it. Hi, Howard. How are you doing? So, who gives a shit about Greenland? Well, right now, nobody. Um, you can smell the stench of colonial arrogance that builds up around every time Trump opens up his fucking mouth about um, uh, Greenland and how he's going to take over Greenland. As a matter of fact, um, Putin has since come out and stated that he believes that systemically Trump is going to take over Greenland. Um, and so you can practically taste the tension that is in the air as Vance drags his ass now to Greenland with his wife. Originally, Yusha was just going to go as an envoy to the country. As it turns out now, Vance is going to do it. And so the original delegation was Mike Waltz and Chris Wright and Usha Vance. Um, and people in Greenland, by the way, are ramping up to try to refute all of this, of course. So you can hear the contempt because a leaked message from Vance, it came out from the Signal Gate messaging where Vance literally said, "I just hate bailing out Europe again." Um, It's the kind of shit that makes you want to punch a wall while Trump stands on his congressional soapbox bellowing like a deranged colonizer. One way or another, we're going to get it. We're going to get Greenland. It's fucking bullshit. Um, plus all the shit with Canada. France decided that in response to Trump's repeated assertions that Canada would become the 51st state, France parked a nuclear-armed submarine right off the coast of Halifax in response to Trump's repeated claims that he will take over Canada. And what it all amounts to is this isn't fucking diplomacy. It's a goddamn imperial tantrum that makes you want to vomit as the Trump administration treats sovereign nations like it's a fucking monopoly property. Oh, I'm going to buy Boardwalk and Park Place together so I can have a monopoly. But I thought that monopolies weren't allowed in the federal government or the U.S. unless somebody can correct me. Monopolies are actually bad. You can end up in a federal court if you try to form a monopoly over something, unless I'm stupid. Please, somebody correct me in case I'm wrong. Um, Regardless, it's just arrogant bullshit while smaller nations get treated like total fucking shit by, um, Donnie Schnotzwaffle. Um, because he treats them like pawns because in his brain it's a chess game. Although with his dementia these days, I don't think it's a chess game. I think it's like checkers, maybe. Um, yeah, something really simple and not complicated. So, um, you know, it's just it's just Donald Trump doing a bunch of dick swinging. Although with his tiny wee wee, I don't know if you can swing that, all that well. Right, correct. Chutes and ladders. That's an even better reference. Um, Today, RFK announced that he is going to gut HHS, and he plans to take a chainsaw to Health and Human Services, slashing a sizable number of 10,000 people and jobs. Um, while the ink is still on Trump's executive order regarding handling that whole mess. It's bureaucratic carnage as we continue to travel down this road of bureaucratic bullshit that is happening. So there's the initial reduction of targets, 10,000 full-time employees. When combined with other measures like the retirement and fork in the road programs, total workforce reduction aims to cut between 82,000 and 62,000 employees. So Health and Human Services is going to get reduced to nothing. Um, HHS claims the restructuring will cost taxpayers nearly $2 billion. And Kennedy himself framed the cuts as realigning the organization with its core mission, which is to find out why vaccines cause autism. Because that's fucking bullshit, in my honest opinion, and I do not understand why it is. Well, no, I do get it. In RFK's case, it's because he basically shot up a bunch of heroin while he was in college, and that fucked him up for the rest of the time that he is here with us. But listen to that $1.8 billion savings figure rolls right off the tongue like honey, while families across the country taste the bitter ash of unemployment, which, by the way, it's going to drive unemployment up incredibly. Um, yeah, Chris, exactly. Those autism studies have already been done. The autism link to vaccines has already been discredited. Um, I'm a vaccine limited person, and I happen to be very autistic, if none of you were aware. So fuck you, RFK. Kiss my ass. Um, yeah, Lynn, clarity. Heroin gives you clarity. Yeah, Jill, I completely agree. I mean, it's a huge crock of fucking bullshit, all of it. And I don't get why it is that uh, RFK is still pushing it. Of course, I'm waiting for him, for bird flu or whatever to swing back around, which I guess it's starting to do that now. For RFK to tell everybody that ivermectin or chloroquine or whatever will cure your bird flu if you get the bird flu. Because if that happens, I'm going to fucking laugh hysterically about it. Um, and so I have a line about realigning with the core mission. Um, and the chronic disease epidemic. Um, you know, touch those cold, empty desks, feeling the burning rage of dedicated public servants tossed aside like yesterday's trash. Uh, you know, right? I mean, it's not just me. I mean, um, yeah, Jill, I completely agree with you. It's all a distraction tactic designed to create like a further narrative that they can use for whatever purposes. Now, Josh, um, it's actually evening, but thank you. A good afternoon, evening to you also. Um, yeah, kill everybody off, and then there won't be chronic diseases. Um, so Lynn, here's my thing. I think that the administration wants to blip. For those that don't know, from the Marvel Universe, Thanos' blip, where he killed like half the universe's population to balance things out. Yeah, I think Trump wants to do that in America and just eliminate half of the population so that he can continue to be rich and we won't have the problems that we have. Maybe he watched too many Marvel movies or some shit. I don't know. Um, So, fucking RFK. That's all the bitching about RFK that I'm going to do. Now we go to the judiciary. So the judiciary is continuing to um, screw over Donald Trump. Every time a case gets up to a judge blocks whatever the fuck it is that Trump is saying or doing. Um, Craig, um, Soylent Green tastes different from person to person. Soylent Green tastes different from person to person. Wow, tough crowd. Tough crowd. I'm here all week. Be sure to tip your waitresses. Um, so Donald Self Shitter tore into James Boasberg with his tongue, branding him a disgraceful um, jurist uh, because apparently Boasberg has been thrown the signal case. So we know how Boasberg has treated Trump's treatment of the Alien Enemies Act. So if Boasberg gets the, if, hey, that's going to happen. Just accept that that's going to happen while we're on this discussion. So Boasberg is going to get the signal case. Um, you can literally smell the shit as Boasberg now clutches 4 separate Trump administration cases, and Trump has claimed that Boasberg um, is stalking him and taking his cases, and that it's wrong, and that we need to impeach Boasberg and the other appellate judges that are against him. So I want to be very clear. I've said this before in a previous live, and I'm going to say this now. So uh, in the House and Senate, to impeach a judge is 50% plus 1 in the House, and then in the Senate, it is a 2/3 vote to unseat the judge. So for Trump to unseat a judge, he has to get 66% of the Senate to agree with him and unseat whichever judge. Right now, under current Senate population numbers, it'll never happen. Trump doesn't have 66% of the Senate vote to swing unseating a judge after that judge has been impeached. So, um, yeah, that's the thing, Lynn. Trump has commanded Bondi to seek out and ultimately investigate and litigate where possible law firms that have cases that are going against Trump's orders, because he can't stop the judiciary. He wants to stop the judiciary. He can't. He just cannot. He can't fire a judge. He can't. Uh, he can't excuse a judge. He can't force a judge into retirement. That's entirely a congressional effort, and it's a congressional effort that, again, under current population numbers in the Senate, he doesn't have. So Bondi is going to essentially investigate and litigate lawyers where possible. Now, here's the thing. They're going to go to Lambda Legal. They're going to go to the ACLU. They're going to go to SPLC. They're not going to find anything in those organizations that would impede those organizations the ability to continue to bring those cases. So Bondi's going to fail, and she's going to fail miserably. I don't get why it is Trump doesn't see that. So I don't fucking get it. I mean, it's stupid to me, right? So the gut-wrenching revelation against the Atlantic editor Jeffrey Goldberg accidentally slipped into a top-secret chat. So when we talk about that and all the backpedaling, and here's the thing, the backpedaling from the GOP is pressuring Trump over Hegseth. I think what is very likely to happen in the next coming months is that Drunk Seth is going to be asked to step down. He really is. I mean, in the Senate hearings today, they asked Tulsi Gabbard, like, if we're talking about military movements, and those military movements become public knowledge to somebody, that's top secret data. And she said yes. And so then the Senate Intelligence Committee said, then Hegseth has to step down. So I think that very, very, yeah, and she lied too on top of that. So I don't know where the disconnect is, but Signalgate is dragging the GOP down viciously, um, and it is affecting uh, opinions universally across the board. Um, you know, Gabbard mumbles about mistakes while Trump brushes it off like it's dandruff on his shoulder because he doesn't care. Um, you know, I mean, you feel your blood pressure explode over the Alien Enemies Act deportation storm, and Boasberg is trying to block those Venezuelan deportations. Trump officials said, "Fuck you, I don't care." And I mean, the sheer audacity of the administration to act outside of judicial order is fucking crazy. And so all of Donald Trump's true social tantrums reek of desperation as he savages the judicial assignment system with the subtlety of a fucking badger. Um, despite each damn case being randomly assigned, the president paints a picture so bleak you can taste the bitterness in his words as he portrays New York and D.C. courts as festering swamps of corruption that he should eliminate, but he doesn't have the power to eliminate them, so he fucking bitches about it. It's just another case of it's a bloody knife fight between executive power and judicial authority. It's turning Washington into a constitutional hellscape that's fucking the democracy as it's grasping for its own breath in the toxic crossfire that we're dealing with. Chris, that's a very good question. So here, let's do this. I mean, I'm changing it all. Yes, that's possible. Here's okay, great. So Chris came in.
Good. Thank you very much. I
Of
appreciate
course.
it.
So I know. Now ask your question.
Well, everybody's saying, "Oh, but the lawyers and the legal and the this and the that." But like, at what point? I mean, I can't believe I'm even saying this in the United States. But is there a point at which he's just says, "I'm toppling it all"? I mean, like, because everything is so fantastic and so bizarre. Why not that? I mean, why? What about if he were to say that Project 2025 is the new Constitution? Who would stand up to him? We have the shittiest representatives here in Pennsylvania. Who would stand up to him?
So here's the thing about that. Trump is trying to rule his presidency through executive order. And I've said this before.
Right.
So executive orders are very ethereal. They're temporary. They can be reversed. And they can't defy the Constitution. And they cannot stop an existing law. And then the next president can reverse them. He walked into office and he reversed 50 of Biden's executive orders.
That's true.
So now, amending the Constitution is a very intense process, and it is not. I'll just say this: he does not have the votes in the House or the Senate to enact an amendment to the Constitution.
Wendy, I'm not even talking about amending. I'm talking about just overthrow.
Overthrow the government, suspend the Constitution? Here's the problem with that.
Yeah.
So, military coup history 105. he has to have the support of the military.
Well,
So I would tell you that right now, and somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, but most of the research that I've done suggests 40% of the military is Latino. They're not gonna.
a lot of
That
Latinos voted for him.
yeah, that's
Hard.
not gonna. That's not gonna fly. But also too, I was talking to my partner about this, and I should point this out. Other than the Rasmussen polls, the president is polling in negative numbers on approval. And get this, I was shocked by this. The poll that Fox News did last week,
Mm-hmm.
49% disapprove, 47% approve. That's the first time a Republican president on a Fox poll has been in negative number as far as approval is concerned ever. So,
Pretty high
but
approval still under the
yeah,
circumstances.
Rasmussen, those assholes will always say that his approval rating is up here because Rasmussen pollsters only poll conservative individuals that don't. Rasmussen is wildly known to be Republican leaning. But the other ones, Gallup, Civics, YouNow, hell, even Nate Silver has made an assumption that the president's approval rating is in the fucking toilet.
I don't
So,
know. I don't know, Wendy. I don't know if I want to depend on Latinos. They did support him in kind of alarming numbers. They're a really mixed bag, you know. Um,
right.
um, but like here in York, Pennsylvania, we were protesting a couple of times, and people driving down the street. We got a lot of honking horns, but I was shocked at how many Latinos, and we do have a big a Dominican, Puerto Rican community here, Mexican too. And I was surprised how many of them were just driving, keeping their eyes on the road, not moving. It stressed me a little bit. So anyway, that's that. I'm sorry. I just thank you for answering my question because it seems like nothing holds anymore. So why should the Constitution?
The Constitution I consider the Constitution to be a very rugged document. So again, going back to the military discussion, when you join the military, they tell you have to defend the Constitution. I mean, it's in the oath. And then two, I mean, going back to the signal gate issue, numerous DoD members, of which a major portion of those are military members, are saying, for instance, that what Hegseth did is a complete and total travesty, and that junior analysts in the DoD, they know not to do that fuck up. And so for that to happen, and then for most of the people that I know that are in the military are like, no, I'm not fighting for this fucker. I
Yeah.
really think that what we are seeing is the erosion of far right GOP politics.
Well, I think
Because,
the reaction Vance got, I think it was Vance when he went to Germany, right? And he went to an American school. A bunch of middle schoolers walked out, and did you think that there was anything strange about the absences on that um, on Signal thread? Where was the joint? What's his name? The Joint Chief.
the Joint Chief of Staff,
Yeah,
where were the other members of the cabinet that should have been
yeah.
involved in that conversation?
Do you?
Literally, with Vance, Tulsi,
Yeah,
Drunk Seth, Waltz, and then an Atlantic News
yeah, yeah.
journalist. There's like four other people that should be involved in
Well,
that
that's what I was
discussion.
thinking. The head of the Air Force. I imagine it was an Air Force mission. I mean, where were those people? Is the president normally in a conversation like that?
Oh no, no, God
Okay.
no. Here's the thing. I love this. So, and I should point this out. So one of the things that Signal does from a secure communications platform is it will delete messages after X number of days. You can tell Signal after 7 days or whatever, send the message into the void. So here's the thing, that violates a constitutional act. So what that violates is the Freedom of Information and Privacy Act.
Right. Okay.
Because if you make an FOIA request, the government has to tell you if that's not classified. And in this case, Hegseth's assertion that that data was not classified would fall into an FOIA request. If they couldn't produce that, they would be constitutionally viable. But here's an even further step forward. If Trump ever finds out about Signal and uses it, and those messages get dumped and deleted, he will violate the Presidential Records Act, which basically says that everything that Donald Trump or any other president for that matter writes has to be preserved. And if it is not preserved,
You know what? I'm going to post that on Substack and Blue Sky because I know he loves social media, guys. Let's send him to Signal. He needs to go to Signal.
I
Really,
mean, that's the thing. If Trump goes to Signal,
yeah,
he's done. He's game over.
the crowd
Game
size,
over.
Wendy. The crowd size on Signal are enormous.
Oh
Enormous.
yeah.
You want crowd?
Let me be fair. I approve of the use of Signal as an end user.
Yeah.
I will give you guys my Signal username. You can drop me messages on Signal all you want. But between you and I, that's completely okay. When a government official does that, that's a fucking problem.
Well, thanks for taking my question seriously because I felt like maybe going right over my head. And
no. And I will tell you, as I tell all readers of the publication, if you're a free subscriber or a paid subscriber of the publication, and you have a question, just send me a message. We can talk.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for letting me scream into the crowd with all your funny jokes.
Wow, that was fun. Thank you, Chris K. I appreciate that very much. I very much appreciate the engagement. So yeah, what a fucking crock of shit, right? It's fucking crazy. How did we get here? What the hell am I looking at? When does this happen in the movie? Everything that you're looking at now is happening now. But what happened to then? We passed then. When? We're at now. When will then be now? Surely everybody knows why that's funny. I think that movie's hysterical. So, really, Craig, you're not a Mel Brooks fan? I'm deeply hurt. I'm deeply hurt. Jasmine Crockett. I love Jasmine Crockett, and I feel like everybody else should love Jasmine Crockett too, because I think Jasmine Crockett is an amazing fucking individual. But she and Abbott are going back and forth with each other constantly, and I think it's fucking hysterical. So, Jasmine Crockett set off a nuclear bomb by calling Greg Abbott Governor Hot Wheels. That's right, Hot Wheels. You could smell the Republican rage when Crockett says Governor Hot Wheels. It's fucking just you can't write this comedy. And the hypocrisy that hangs in that air is so thick you could cut that with a knife and spread that on pancakes. Because Trump has more than once repeatedly badmouthed a disabled reporter. And they all call Crockett a lowlife while GOP vultures circle overhead waiting for her to fall apart. The fact of the matter is, Crockett does not fall apart. That woman is inadvertently and extremely strong and has a very good Constitution score, and I think that's fucking amazing. So the seething tension between AG Pam Bondi absurdly tries linking Crockett's Elon Musk criticisms to Tesla arson attacks, which is complete bullshit. While Antoine Seawright declares it's time to go with the flow instead of Michelle Obama's high road bullshit, we just need to fucking we need to fucking. Um, yeah, exactly. He even badmouths our own, our own military people, which is a fucking crock of just steaming pile of shit. Um, it really is. Um, so, I mean, I don't even know. But Crockett has built her brand on attention-grabbing confrontation, uh, like her back and forth with fucking Marjorie Taylor Greene, which every time Margie opens up her fucking mouth, um, Crockett is there to tell her to shut the fuck up, which I think is fucking brilliant. Yeah, I'm way past. I'm done with the high road. It's time to. It's time to start. I'm not pulling punches anymore. Democratic leadership has not condemned her because many progressives believe fighting GOP fire with fire is the only way to survive the political landscape we live in. So nobody's rushing out to badmouth Crockett, and I think that's fucking brilliant. So we need to keep that up. The rhetoric against the GOP and the GOP support of what the fuck is going on needs to continue um, to happen. And this high road bullshit that Chuck Schumer talks about, we can't shut down the government. We have to be the honor. I'm done with this honorable bullshit. Um, you know, uh, so uh, Crockett's strategic brilliance touches a hugely raw nerve. Um, you know, the only cardinal sin for Democrats now is being boring and ineffectual. If Democrats aren't going to come off the fucking high road and actually get down to the trenches and fighting shit, then their approval ratings are going to go in the toilet and people are going to find new leadership. Progressive supporters taste the vindication as they point to the avalanche of racist ghetto and hood rat insults hurled at Crockett, who doesn't give a shit because she's probably heard those all her life, in the same way that as a trans person I have heard every fucking trans slur and queer slur that could be imagined. I will tell everybody that just recently in an interview, I got called that word that begins with F and rhymes with hag, um, not once, but twice, and I literally said, fuck no. That, that doesn't make it political theater. It's a goddamn cage match where attention is the coin of the realm, and Crockett knows how to make the cash register ring like a motherfucking slot machine hitting in the jackpot. That's just how the fuck it is. Um, so here's what that effect is creating. Um, so Hegseth, drunk Seth, is in the middle of all this torrent that's going on with Signalgate, and he's drowning in that quagmire that he made. Um, so Senator Kramer comes back and says, um, "Don't ever let it happen again," and the party isn't happy. I mean, you can feel the embarrassment radiating off of drunk Seth's skin as he stands, uh, you know, bull-faced lying that nobody was texting war plans, but they were texting war plans, and they were texting top secret information. And so the Senate Armed Services Committee chair is demanding document preservation. So Boasberg is very likely going to rule in favor of that, um, and suggesting that that signal chat be preserved and not erased. McConnell's prophetic warning that drunk Seth wasn't ready for massive and solemn responsibility now hangs in the air. So McConnell is talking down drunk Seth. So there are members of the GOP that are starting. Oh, wait a second, this isn't good. We need to get control of this situation. Um, So you can just smell their desperation. That desperation is feeding directly into the GOP's um, overall flow as they realize that if they don't get the situation under control, they're going to lose everything. And it's not just a glitch; it's a catastrophe that's turning the national security apparatus on its ear, and it's fucked up. So, uh, what do I think? I think 2 3 months from now, Hegseth is fucked. I literally think Hegseth is fucked. Um, I believe Hegseth is going to be forced to resign in the next 60 days. Um, if not because of Signalgate, because of something else that's going to come out that he's doing. In the Senate Intelligence Committee meetings, the Ratcliffe and Gabbard and all those others repeatedly questioned about whether or not drunk Seth is actually drinking on the job or not, and they dodge all those fucking questions. Um, the air around Boasberg, um, as he orders them to preserve every damn message from those 5 critical days, um, you can hear the uncomfortable shuffling in the Justice Department as they work with other agencies to do that, feeling the cold, hard reality that our current defense secretary is babbling specific details about weapons and timing of military strikes. And here's the thing. If one American life dies because of the shit that Hegseth said in that chat, he's done. It's over. If one American life is lost because of his actions in Signalgate, um, that's it. No more defense secretary and possibly criminal proceedings. I would say, and I don't think Trump can protect him from that. Vice President Vance lurking in the same digital room while National Security Advisor Waltz accidentally invites the Atlantic's editor-in-chief to witness the whole shit show is a fucking disaster. And then, sure enough, as was said earlier, who else should have been involved in that conversation, and why weren't they included? So is there sectionalism that's going on in the government right now? Are there cliques of people who are communicating with each other and not communicating with other people that they should be communicating with? Like the Joint Chief of Staff and the other members of the cabinet. This makes it all sound like it's a very disjointed, not very well functioning um, machine. It's like fucked up. There's a left hand and the right hand, and they're not talking to each other, and they should. Um, you know, I almost hope that when Boasberg delivers the delicious little jab, don't worry, it'll be in writing. Um, Responding to the administration's pathetic attempt to wriggle out of the previous verbal order with technicalities, I can't wait to watch Bondi and KKK Caroline trying to talk their way out of that. I really can, uh, because it's gonna be fucked up. Um, and it's not just that it's an embarrassing slip up; it's a dumpster fire of constant and repeated incompetence. Which says, by the way, Donald Trump needs to stop nominating Fox News and Friends people to run the government because they have no idea what the fuck they're doing. They really just have no fucking idea at all. Um, it just I don't fucking get it. I really don't. And if I did get it, then uh, um, I'm just not sure. Um, so that's sort of the news update from today against the news that I've reported. Um, does anybody have any questions before I start randomly picking on people to uh, tell me I'm an idiot and I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about? I mean, you'd be right half the time, I'm sure, but yeah, I'm just not sure. You know, I really don't. Craig, have you come back yet? Um, who else am I going to pick on tonight? I want to. Who's going to get it now? We have a pretty light crew tonight. It's been pretty quiet, so. Um, oh, Elaine, I. That's a good question. I don't know uh, where she where she disappeared to or why. Uh, oh, I won't pick on Craig, Chris, because picking on Craig um, means, you know, um, if I pick on him too much, then he won't do all the really cool shit that he does for me, and I don't want to push that. Um, but despite being partnered with kids, um, despite being partnered with kids, Elaine and I are very much clones of one another, and I think that's fucking hysterical. And I think everybody should maybe. Oh, here we go.
Actually, I'm still in.
So Howard, where are you? I have to ask. Oh, we can't hear you. Hold on. Um, oh shit, I lost you, Howard. I'm gonna try to get you back though. Yeah, that was really unstable. Come on, Substack Live, be stable. Um, yeah, I'm trying to get Howard to come back. I had I had him in session and then we lost him. I don't know what happened. It was crazy. Um, I was going to offer to read a portion of the Helen excerpt um, from the excerpt of My House of Pain today, um, so that you would all be convinced I'm a horrible writer and I shouldn't write shit. Um, but I guarantee you, if I start reading that text, I will break down into tears and I will start crying again, and I'm not going to do that in front of you guys on a live session. I know, Craig, it's not a beautiful piece. It really isn't. Um, Howard, yeah, I live in a state of instability pretty constantly. Um, no, see, Craig, maybe people don't realize this, but um, the anger of the snapping beans. Okay, all right. So, Chris, I have to do this to you again. Um, you're just gonna. I, You're going to be the end of this. Um, so, did you actually read it?
Me? Of
Yes.
course, I'm the one that told you trying to cook now, and you're talking, and I'm freaking, like I need to cut some cabbage. I feel like you brought her back to life. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, look, I'm right there with you. Um,
Yeah. I thought that was a great piece. I think you should share it or encourage people to go back and read it. I mean, it would be fun to read it in your voice. I mean, it would be fun to hear it in your voice.
whew, yeah, that
I
that
feel like
I here's the thing. This is the thing, and I may have I told you this, but people don't know this. That text is part of a larger body of text that I wrote um, 9 years ago, and I did it therapeutically to deal with a lot of bullshit that I was dealing with, and so people that have read, and it's 1,800. It's like this. It's 1,800 pages long, and people that have read through it have said, "This is brilliant. You should publish this so people can read it." And I just never believe that it's worthy of that.
I'll be that. It's
Okay.
hard. That makes it.
No, no, I believe that. It's just when I read it, it's like, oh, that was so painful. But I mean, let's be fair. I mean, somebody compared me to Jack Kerouac,
Yeah.
and and I literally said, "Oh, I don't know if I want to be known as the woman who locked herself in a hotel room and did heroin for 3 months to write her American novel. That's a horrible thing to be known for."
American trans Jack Kerouac. I think we need
I
to.
just, I literally, I yeah, I'm literally shocked. I don't. But from my perspective, telling that story is important. And holy shit, Chris, you're making me hungry.
Yeah, it's a new recipe that's up in NYU. Believe it, I have everything here. It's sheet pan kielbasa with cabbage beans. Don't you love those sheet pan recipes? I do.
Oh,
Your reaction, my husband did. He's at band practice. Oh, I better home when I what it was. Now, in my
gosh, Chris, I think that's amazing. I love my kitchen, and I love cooking in my kitchen a whole lot. And when I cook in my kitchen, I I oh shit, Elaine joined. Now we're gonna have fun.
guys all know each other. Where are you?
Oh, I live in Atlanta. Did I not tell you that?
No, I didn't hear that. Where are they all in Atlanta too?
No. So I sound off everybody that's in the chat where you're from.
Uh,
Yeah, I live in Atlanta, Georgia. Chris, where are you?
I'm in York, Pennsylvania.
Okay, York, Pennsylvania. Okay, cool. Um,
Very red area. But there are people here. We're starting to find each other, which is encouraging. Pennsylvania's election is very. If you guys want to follow smart election,
yeah, didn't the Democrat win a Senate seat like 2 days ago? Holy shit! Yeah.
it's a big deal. But smart elections, the truth of the matter is, there was something funky about our election. All seven of the swing states were weird. Pennsylvania was the weirdest. And
Right.
here for about 3 weeks, he was in Philly. He was giving away money, having lots. You remember that comment Trump made where he Elon knows those machines. It's on YouTube. You can find it.
Right.
Yeah. So anyway, smart elections is a group that's like monitoring election irregularity of the election data is the extreme irregularity in all of the swing states, but Pennsylvania especially.
Right.
So they just posted something on Substack. It's really complicated. I did it about 5 to understand it, but I don't know at this point whether it even matters. I mean, here I was asking you a little while ago, but what if Trump just decides to trample on the Constitution? So does it matter that the election was rigged? The election has never been audited. I mean, I don't know why we didn't do that in those months. I guess Democrats were like, oh, we're going to take the high road.
Yeah. I mean, it's very clear um, that I, here in Atlanta, all of the blue counties um, and the blue polling locations got bomb threats called into them.
Oh, we had it too here in Pennsylvania. Yours did
Yeah,
too.
and
Yeah,
that's bullshit. That was bullshit.
yeah.
So,
After that smart election came out, those bonds, it said years they could have come from Russian sources. We're liberal Democrats,
right,
unfortunately. So anyway, those bomb threats were from. It was in all of the sources. So it is a
right. Um, oh gosh, really? So, Election Truth Alliance.
yeah.
Right. Um, just a fine amount that wouldn't trigger a recount. That's why. Yeah, I've heard that too. And I'm gonna be honest with you. That's not a conspiracy theory in my opinion, um, because the election was so close. Um, but what a fucking wreck and disaster it was. Gosh, um, that was horrible. Um, so. Uh, All right. Well, so Chris, you now can literally. So we're in the last 5 minute drag. I will literally let you ask me any question. There's no. You can literally can ask me any fucking question you want to ask, and I will answer the question purely and honestly. I give every time I coach somebody into the live, I give everybody a chance to ask an unrestricted question.
Feel like I wish I'd had ample warning because I could have prepared really good. And instead, I stuck with this. Okay, how the hell did you get a round, perfectly round
A perfectly round what?
pie crust to the
Oh
point?
gosh.
I mean, like it would merit a hug with Helen because, like, my pie crust are
So I'll tell you the story about that. Um, when I was very young, and I should point out too, not a lot of people know this. Helen was actually my grandmother. She was my mother's mother, and my mother was a very narcissistic, very antisocial personality, very abusive person. When I actually get to publishing the stories about Zoe, wherever I mention Zoe, that is actually my mother, and that is not her real name, because when I hear my mother's real name, it triggers me so emotionally badly that I can't deal with it. Um, so Helen was my mother, and the story of Helen was it was very simple. Um, when I wasn't in school, when I wasn't sleeping at home, and I wasn't doing work around I was at Helen's house, and she was my refuge. And she always knew um, when I was growing up that I was a different. I mean, I was a very different person. And let's be fair. I mean, I went through an endocrine era when I was very young, where I didn't start puberty on time, and I was a very low testosterone person, and I had a myriad of issues. And so when I was a kid, I was treated with testosterone and human growth hormone injections. But my endocrinologist has since told me, like, if I get somebody like you now, and I had got you when you were 8 and you hit 9, 10 or whatever, and you had that problem, I would immediately you need to go through gender transition. That's a hormonal imbalance. You can't force that. Um, but Helen knew that I was different. So yeah, when I was a kid, like she would put her blouses on me, or she would let me wear and she'd put necklaces and she put earrings, like clip-on earrings or whatever, and I always felt really special around her. But so here's the thing about the pie crust. I never understood how she did this, but then I figured it out. She literally bought one of those huge ass compasses, like a mathematics compass. Yeah, exactly. And then she spread it out, and she put it down in the middle and spin it around, and it would make a perfect circular pie crust. Completely mathematical.
That
But
is amazing.
yeah, brilliant, right?
Doesn't it? Everybody.
Yes. Yeah, every time. You measure it right, it works every time, and you don't.
Thank you for the answer. I'm glad I did.
Yeah, now, of course, this is 2025. I'm sure that somebody has actually made a compass as a baking product that actually does this. Just go look on Amazon. You'll find it, I'm sure.
Get on Amazon. I'll just use it. Thanks.
Yeah, but yeah, go to your, like, school box store or whatever and get the big fucking
Yeah.
the big fucking compass, and then you can make it. Yeah, when I was a kid, I didn't get it, and so because I did the same thing. I tried to make the pie crust and I could never get it right. Shit, no, I could never get it right. Um, yeah, that was. But yeah, that's the references to Helen that I make in the book are tied entirely back to the idea that Helen was my mother. Um, you know, I would say she raised me 70% of the way. And then I lost her when I was 15, which that was the wrong time to lose her. And so it was a really, really bad time. And so anyway, gosh, I get,
Yeah.
whew, um,
Ready to read now. But everybody, if you can find it, I don't know. I'm still a little shaky with subject. It's really good.
yeah, well, here's the thing. I did not realize this, but actually in the text, I actually wrote this in the text. I actually lost all of her recipe cards that she gave me when she passed away. Um, get this, and not a lot of people know this about me. I have an eidetic memory.
A what memory?
An eidetic memory. Do you understand what that is? Photographic. I can recall. And so, sure enough, in the text um, that I wrote 9 years ago, um, 25 of the 45 of those recipes are completely preserved in the text.
But you should write them down in case you want to give.
Oh, I'm fucking gonna, I'm gonna fucking write them down.
Look, are they included in the book?
Yes.
Oh, excellent. That sounds
Yes.
good. Sounds
Yes.
like
I should just publish the recipes in line with the story, and because the ones that I remembered, the ones that I cooked consistently enough, there are a significant amount of memories tied back to those. I will tell you, by the way, that one of the recipes. Um, so I have 3 kids, and my middle one is named Gizmo. So whenever you hear me say Gizmo, I'm talking about my middle child, who is my biological child, and then my other 2 kids are my partner's biological kids. But they're all my kids or whatever. But my middle one, Gizmo will beg me repeatedly to make this one dish, and Gizmo is going off to Oglethorpe University here in Atlanta because they're 17. They'll be 18 in June, and then they go to college. And Gizmo has told me, Mom, will you please make the special dish if I come home every Sunday so that I can eat like 3 days of the week? And I'm like, fuck yes, I literally will do that. And
that. Now, everyone around on this video, but everybody wants to know what that What is, you don't tell us the recipe, but what is?
Oh, I've said that before. It's very easy. It's basically a seasoned ground beef and ground lamb dish. I normally just use beef, but it tastes better because it's a variant of shepherd's. You understand what shepherd's and cottage pie is, right? So basically, it's just a seasoned meat derivative um, that is then baked in tomato sauce that I make by hand with. I use shitty minute rice in it just to make it fast, but I am infamously known for subbing out quinoa or one of the other grains or whatever for it, and then a bunch of cheese over the top. And it's really simple, but it's one of those dishes where I get a bite of it and I feel like I'm at home now. So yeah, I literally have told everybody uh, repetitively, I will put the casserole recipe into the book. Um, because that's a piece of my history and home growing up, and everyone should have access to that. So I would totally do that. Right. So anyway, there you go.
But you know what?
Hey, Craig. I mean, I've got my panda right here. You want it?
No. Thank you, Wendy. I really
Oh,
enjoyed.
yeah, of course. Thank you, Chris. Always. Well, I'm gonna tell everybody thank you. Um, I will again reassert to everyone, um, if you're a paid subscriber to the publication, thank you. Um, you're getting me through this very difficult time of not being employed. Um, if you're a free subscriber, thank you for being a free subscriber. Continue to share the stuff that that we're putting out, um, because um, you're supporting all of us, not just me. Um, Hi, Esoteric. I'm sorry, Esoteric. We're already at the end of it today, so you'll just have to watch I'll post the live here in a few minutes, um, but I want to tell all of you, please be safe. Um, if you're in a safe space, stay in a secure, safe space. If you're not in a safe space, get to a safe space and um, and stay there. I love you all. Um, I can't get through this without you, and um, you can't get through this without me and everyone else. So we need you to get through this. It's a very hard time, and um, if you're not in a safe space and there's something that I can do to help you get out of that, contact me. I mean, I have resources. Uh, and if I don't have resources, I know someone who does. Um, so, um, but please be safe out there. Um, Wendy signing out.